Hey there, I'm Kavita, and we are about to embark on a 21-day journey together called Come As You Are, a 21-day return to joy. So, if you've ever walked the spiritual path consciously, you might recognize this pattern of the journey. So, you start off way down, and then you let go of something. And when you let go of something, then you get filled with something else. And then as you keep on walking, you get refined in this space by what's hard. And then eventually, as you continue to keep outgoing, you're sent back out and you're changed. And it's basically the pruning process. And that is the outline of the series. But what makes this series special is not just the 21 days, it's how I'm going to walk through them with you. So I don't know about you, but for me and for many of us growing up, we were given one book, technically 66 books, but one book that was supposed to be the full account of who God is and how God operates. And while that is a beautiful truth, and while nothing I say is supposed to take away from that, what I've come to believe over a lifetime of reading and studying the Bible is that this one book was not the entire conversation. Because there are other writings. And even back in the day, there were other communities of early believers who were reading and they were praying with texts that never made it into the canon we know today. There's the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the books of Enoch, Jubilees. There are writings that stood alongside the Bible for years. And these written and oral traditions lasted long before the councils and centuries of decisions narrowed the numbers down to only 66. Now, let me be transparent that those decisions weren't purely about truth versus falsehood. They were shaped in a very similar way that we see decisions being made today, by politics, by communities which held, by who held the most power, which bishops won which arguments. And then think about it. At the time, we're talking about a fractured young church that was just trying to survive. So I'm not making excuses, and I'm not saying that the 66 books are wrong. However, I do believe that the process that selected them was a very human process, and we know that human processes can still leave out things that matter. And so my part of this, so my premise, I don't believe the Bible is missing anything that's essential to your salvation. I believe it exactly as it stands. And I think that the fuller picture and the one that gives us more context, more nuance, more of the mystery, and more of the magic, because you guys know I'm into the magic of this stuff, it comes from letting these texts sit next to each other. It comes from letting them speak to each other. And from listening to where they agree and noticing where they surprise us. And then also it's about honoring where they leave us with questions that don't get wrapped up, because that is going to happen. My role in all of this, full disclaimer, I am not a theologian. I'm not going to pretend to be. I am someone who has spent her life doing this though. I read the Bible, I live it, I carry it, I weigh it. I'm willing to hold up the canon next to the excluded texts and say out loud in front of you, what does this conversation become when we let these two talk to each other? And some days you're going to see similarities where, like in the Gospel of Thomas, you'll see it saying almost word for word what Matthew says. And on other days, you're going to see disagreement. The Gospel of Thomas talks about sin very differently than the Epistle of John does. And I am not going to smooth over the differences. I'm going to name them. We are going to identify them. We're going to sit in them. And we'll leave whatever needs to be open. Because my role here is not as the judge. I'm not the authority. I am the bridge. And I'm the bridge. If you're curious as to what each day looks like, every video in this series follows the exact same shape. So you're always going to know where you are. We're going to open with the canon, with a canonical text for the day's theme, because this is going to be what you most likely already know. And then we're going to widen out and we're going to bring in a text that didn't make it into the 66 books. And it's going to be one that speaks to the same theme, but from a different angle. And we're going to weave them together. We're going to put them side by side. We're going to talk about them. We're going to notice how they complement each other or where they completely separate and go in different directions. And I love, love, love these bodies that God has blessed us with, which is why we are also going to include a short somatic practice. That's breath work or movement or posture. It's something to help the day's teaching land past your head and into your body. Because spiritual truth was never meant to just be in your thoughts. It's supposed to move through us. Always. Every day, we're going to close with something, a takeaway. It could be a blessing. It could be a thought. It'll be something for you to hold with you through the day. So I'd like to give you a quick sense of what the somatic practice may be like, since it's part of every single day's journey. Now, right now, wherever you are, let your shoulders drop just 1 inch away from your ears. Take a breath in slowly through your nose and let it fill your belly, not just your chest. Hold it for a moment. And then slowly release your breath, letting your exhale be longer than your inhale. Coming as you are isn't just a mental posture, it's a physical one too. And your body's been carrying whatever you brought here today, and it deserves to be part of the healing too. That's why we do these somatic practices. So what you have to look forward to now, we begin with a prologue on childlike faith. And then we're going to move through the 5 movements together. Coming as you are, letting go, being refined, being sent out. I missed one, being filled. 21 days, 2 ancient conversations, finally allowed to sit in the same room. And you, wherever you are starting from today, exactly as you are invited into all of it. And I'm not asking you to believe everything I bring to you over the next 21 days. I'm asking you to stay curious with it, though. I want you to sit with it and be honest enough with yourself to notice what stirs in you, because something new may come up, and that's a beautiful thing. So let's begin, and I'll see you in the prologue.